Alright, good day everyone. Prepping in Australia here. I want to welcome you to my channel. This is my first video that I'm going to do about prepping in Australia. And to be brutally honest, I'm a complete newbie with this stuff. I've only been even thinking about, I've been thinking about it for a couple of years. When I bought my 4x4 a couple of years ago, I was thinking, yeah, if shit hits the fan, I want a 4x4, not a BMW. But really, it's only until recently, the last couple of months, that I've actually thought seriously about putting some food away for future uses in case something happens, shit hits the fan, as they say in the prepping community. We did have floods back here in Australia in February of 2011, and that was pretty scary. That was the first time I actually put some food away, but I really wasn't worried about anything long-term at that point. It was just a couple days, some water, some canned meats, and that kind of thing. And what I've learned out when you start doing some research in the prepping community, and I'm not here to teach you how to prep because I am newbie. I'll tell you two resources that I've gotten a lot of great resources from is Canadian Prepper. I love his production style. And then Sensible Prepper. That man has more ways to use different items in your bag than anyone I've come across so far. So I definitely would suggest to check those out, and I'll put a link into those to those guys' channels in below this video. So today what this is about more than anything is to say hello, to introduce myself, but more to talk about prepping in Australia because it is expensive. Food in Australia is brutally expensive. What you see on the ground here costs $70. I went to two different Chinatown grocery stores, and this is all about going to Chinatown because I had some interesting ideas I wanted to share with you. A little bit different. I haven't seen anyone in the prepping videos talking about using food from Chinatown to give you what you need in a short, medium, or long-term situation. And so I wanted to point out a couple things, point out a couple of mistakes I made, and then point out some just crazy things that you're going to find in Australia. Okay, so the first thing I want to point out to you is this pork floss. So this pork floss cost about $9. It's 210 grams, and it's basically that. As you can see, it is floss. It looks like candy floss or spun candy, but it's actually meat. And it's very light. This probably weighs, I don't know, less than half a pound. So I think that this is, especially in Australia, this is a great replacement for beef jerky. Beef jerky in Australia is ridiculously expensive. I mean, you'll pay $7, $8, $9 for like 50 grams. I mean, it is just crazy. So you can go to go to Chinatown, go to your Asian market, your Chinese market, and pick up some pork floss. They also have fish floss, and they also do have, some of them I've seen they do have variants of beef as well. But I thought that was a great way to keep the meat and the protein going, but keep it light and packable as well. These things as well I find fascinating. Now, you might have seen these or had these in a Chinese shop, in Chinese food shop or whatever. And normally they're these these big crackers, and they come in big bags. But when they're not cooked, inside here they basically look like little pieces of sea glass. So if you've seen sea glass, kind of rounded pieces, about that big around or so, and they're flat and they're colored. And all you have to do is throw them in a little oil, and they pop up and create these beautiful crackers. So I just thought, again, in a medium to long-term situation, you're going to look for a little splurge. There's not going to be any potato chips left in the shops if we're in a bad situation. So these store forever. I don't know if they store forever, actually, but they're going to last a long, 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 long time. And again, I think a great little nicety to have because, again, you'll be missing that fast food type stuff. This is another thing which I think is important, and I haven't seen anyone in the community talking about this as either. So this is basically nori. This is the seaweed that they use to wrap sushi. This particular packet is grilled and has been developed as a snack food. The great thing about this is that it's super light. It's fairly inexpensive, but it has heaps of vitamin C and vitamin A. So, you eat one of these sheets a day, and, you're not going to have to worry about scurvy. And vitamin A is great for the skin. So again, this is, I think, a great thing to have in any survival case, simply because it's affordable, it's cheap, and it is really, really good for you. Okay, the other thing that's fascinating is dried beans. All right, in Australia, or at least where I live in Queensland, you go into one of the two main grocery stores. Those are Coles and Woolies. Guess what? There are no dried beans to be found. You're going to scratch your head and say, what? No dried beans in a grocery store? No dried beans in a grocery store. I did find split peas at Aldi, But no, you're not going to, and like in America, you probably go buy a 10-pound bag of this for $5. Okay, so this bag of red beans, I think, was $5 in the shops. It was $3.99 for 500 grams, and then the black beans were $3.99 for 1,000 grams. But the only place I could find them was in the Asian shop, in the Chinese grocery store in Chinatown. The other thing I picked out, I got some spices here. So there's some pepper, some cinnamon, and some hot chilies. Again, those were like $2 each in the Chinese store. The cinnamon, basically, I'm thinking, again, long term, if really shit hits the fan and you're eating rice for the next 5 years or 3 years or even 1 year, wouldn't it be nice to have some cinnamon and throw it on in the morning? If you've got some oats, rolled oats that you're making oatmeal every day, great to have some cinnamon. Obviously, having sugar on top of that would be nice. And then, of course, the pièce de résistance is the instant full cream milk powder. So I was watching a fascinating video on Canadian Prepper the other night, and he brought out this book, which they actually had at my local library, so I've gone and picked that up. And they're talking about food preparation guide, but what's interesting is they have a list of which foods last the longest. And so he was going through that list. He's got a great video about there. Again, I might put a link to that video in here, but you can go to Canadian Prepper on YouTube and do a search on long-lasting foods, and you'll find it. And he was the one that mentioned the fact that instant full milk cream powder can last 20 years if it's stored correctly. 20 years, and as he claims in that video, milk has all the nutrition we need to give us just about everything we need. You could almost subsist off milk, except for a few key micronutrients. So having some powdered milk around the place, I thought would be fantastic. The problem was I'd never seen this in the normal shops, in the grocery shops. So when I saw it in the Chinese shop, I just bought it. But they were $11.50 each. Okay, so that's $24 right there between those two. $21.50, $21.50, $23. And so that's a big part of the $70 spend, right? And so then on the way home, this is the mistake I made. I saw the video, I ran out and went shopping, and then saw those and bought them instantly, and I didn't do my homework. So then on the way home from there, I go to Aldi, and here I find another bag of 7 liters of powdered milk, and that was only $5.65. Okay, so again, that's a lot of these videos are going to be trying to help you living in Australia, and obviously you can tell I'm not Australian with this accent. I'm an American living in Australia, and even though I've been here for 15 years, I'm still surprised when I go to the store and try to find certain things, just because they just don't have it here like they do in America. So once again, you have $70 worth of goods. Now, that's not a lot of food, and these ramen noodles, again, the cheapest I could find them, this was $1.89 for 5. Okay, you're not going to go into a normal store and buy a case of 46 for $6 like you are in the States, right? It's just not going to happen. There is a Costco here, and I'm going to go check it out to see what they might have. But I reckon with the meat, the two big things of beans, the pasta, if I were to then go get maybe a $10 or $20 bag of rice, so I've got maybe 10 kilos of rice, I could probably live 30 days off this easy, would be my guess, maybe a little bit longer. Yes, I do have some water stored as well, but again, this is the basics, and this is one store run. So, I don't want you to be scared off of trying to, do some food prepping if you live in Australia. So what I'm going to try to do is help you find the best deal and give you some ideas on where to go to to find some of the stuff that you actually need. As you would imagine, going to a grocery store in Chinatown, that's the place where you're going to get the 25 kilo bags of rice. And yes, they're going to be $38, but 25 kilos is 55 pounds ish. So that's a lot of rice. It's going to last you a long time. All right, guys. So once again, prepping in Australia here. Hopefully, we'll get a few more videos out, and we'll show you some better ways to start putting your food away, or better ways to spend money or save money. Either way you want to look at it. And if you have any comments or questions, obviously interested to hook up with people who might be interested in involved in a prepping community here in Australia. I haven't found much on YouTube, so I don't think there's many people active. If they are active, they're keeping awful quiet. So once again, Aussie Prepping in Australia here. Want to thank you for your time, and we'll catch up with you next time. Have a great day.